Love will guide us, peace has tried us, hope inside us will lead the way on the road from greed to giving. Love will guide us through the hard night. Let's do that again. Love will guide us. Peace has tried us. Hope inside us will lead the way on the road from greed to giving. Love will guide us through the hard night. Love will guide us through the hard night.
All right, we're going to run it back with singing right away. Let's sing the children out of here.
For you shall go out in joy, for you shall go out in joy and come back in peace, and come back in peace. For you shall go out in joy, for you shall go out in joy and come back in peace, and come back in peace. Blessed be.
This moment is an opportunity for merging into one's present self, into one's body. A little check-in, a deeper breath, a meditation in the style of your preference. For those of you who might want something to ponder, what's your favorite stained glass window in the church? Can you find a new detail I was just looking, recently I just noticed the three kind of triplets of rectangular blocks, like two squares and a rectangle under each of the five major figures. And they have a mirroring pattern from the outside in. And I just had never seen that before. So, I don't know, you can maybe find one in yours. And if you want, you can walk around. If you can't see your favorite one right now, you can get up and move. It's fine. I'm next one. Here at Throop, we have at least 12 member families whose homes and businesses were either completely lost in the Eaton fires or suffered levels of critical damage. But beyond these most critical needs, there are many levels of care we can provide for each other. Woven within our coffee and conversation in Throop Hall after service today, you will find resources and sign-ups, both for those of you in need of help and those of you eager to help others. And you can, I don't even know what's out there right now, you can get that too. I remain inspired by the outpouring of support for each other within our Throop community, as well as honored to witness the ability of those of you who have lost the most to open yourselves up to receive the help so many of us wish to provide. Thank you for trusting Throop to assist you in whatever ways we can.
This church is our church. We support it through our gifts of time, our gifts of talent, and our gifts of treasure. You can give online. The directions are in the order of worship, or place your gift in the offering plate. If you are a first-time visitor, please let the offering plate pass you by. Thank you for supporting our life together. The offering will now be gratefully received.
I was a miner, I was a docker, I was a railwayman between the wars. I raised a family in times of austerity, with sweat at the foundry between the wars. I paid the union as times got harder. I looked to the government to help the working man, but they brought prosperity down at the armory. We're arming for peace, my boys, between the wars. I kept the faith and I kept voting, not for the iron fist but for the helping hand, for theirs is a land with a wall all around it, and mine is a faith in my fellow man. Theirs is a land of hope and glory, and mine is the green field and the factory floor. Theirs are the skies all dark with bombers, and mine is the peace we knew between the wars. Call up the craftsmen, bring me the draftsmen, build me a path from cradle to grave, and I'll give my consent to any government that does not deny a man a living wage. Go find the young men, never to fight again, and bring up the banners from days gone by. Sweet moderation, the heart of this nation, desert us, for we are not between the wars. Desert us not, we are between the wars.
In the spirit of gratitude, we lift up our thanks to those supporting our worship today. Steve, our live stream operator, Matt, our lay reader, Teresa with the children's program, Chris and Vahe, our greeters, Tom, our coffee and conversation host, Malcolm on music and the Throop choir, Reverend Tara for her guidance and care, and the entire Throop community for our commitment to one another. As we pause in recognition for all the ways we support our Throop community life, say with me the words in your order of service. With gratitude for the
ministries of the church that hold us and embolden us to love the world, we bless our offering and the many gifts we share.
Martin Luther King Jr.'s life and words have always seemed so striking to me, I think, quite simply because the way in which he died, the violent assassination by gunshot, stands in such obviously stark contrast to his repeated statements and actions in support of nonviolence. Statements and actions we revere so much, we celebrate them annually to this day, nearly 60 years after his death. When Nina Simone sings in the song we played before service today, he was not a violent man. Tell me, folks, if you can, why? Why was he shot down the other day? It touches at its core this through line we've shared with human civilizations throughout our history, where we plead to God or into the void for some specific answers. Answers to how something so unequivocally wrong could have occurred. How could someone who represented the best of us, who preached love ceaselessly and declared over and over that he would not fight violently, be nonetheless violently taken from us? The Book of Lamentations asks, how can the temple, God's residence, have been destroyed and our people abandoned? We ask, how can democracy survive if our political leaders disregard it? But murder could not silence Reverend Dr. King's words, nor can time diminish their relevance. Here is an excerpt from his famous speech, I Have a Dream. It would be fatal for the nation to overlook the urgency of the moment. But there is something that I must say to my people who stand on the warm threshold which leads into the palace of justice. In the process of gaining our rightful place, we must not be guilty of wrongful deeds. Let us not seek to satisfy our thirst for freedom by drinking from the cup of bitterness and hatred. We must forever conduct our struggle on the high plane of dignity and discipline. We must not allow our creative protest to degenerate into physical violence. Again and again, we must rise to the majestic heights of meeting physical force with soul force. The marvelous new militancy which has engulfed the Negro community must not lead us to a distrust of all white people. For many of our white brothers,
as evidenced by their presence here today, have come to realize that their destiny is tied up with our destiny, and they have come to realize that their freedom is inextricably bound to our freedom. We cannot walk alone, and as we walk, we must make the pledge that we shall always march ahead. We cannot turn back. Martin Luther King embraces me through these words. Long after his death, as I yearn to march ahead alongside my siblings in search of a more just and loving world. Reverend Dr. King goes on to name dreams he has that even today seem unimaginably hopeful. And yet, in the years since his assassination, real continued progress in race relations has been made. Oppression still abound, of course, regarding issues of race, of women's rights, queer rights, economic rights, disability rights, rights of the elderly and of the young, voting rights, ecological rights, animal rights, immigration rights, and the list goes on. But Reverend King does not call us to linger too long in despair. He calls us to have faith in what seems impossible. With this faith, he continued, we will be able to hew out of the mountain of despair a stone of hope. With this faith, we will be able to transform the jangling discords of our nation into a beautiful symphony of brotherhood. With this faith, we will be able to work together, to pray together, to struggle together, to go to jail together, to stand up for freedom together, knowing that we will be free one day. Inspired by Martin Luther King's work, and as a token of love on behalf of our Throop congregation, our members made dream pillows for you to take with you today. The key ingredient in dream pillows is the herb mugwort, and these sachets have mugwort mixed with other herbs, and all of it comes from our Throop garden. If you'd like one, please come up to the front and take one during the following song.
When we are singing, we are bound together. When we are sharing, we are free to be. Both in our singing and in our sharing, we are bringing change. We are making peace through times of trouble, through times of pain. We offer healing like a gentle rain, both in our healing and in our caring. We are bringing change. We are making peace. When we are helping, we can
On the first night I got to myself after the fires began to slow, I let my son play video games while I had a cocktail. And I blasted David Byrne's 2004 record, Grown Backwards. Anyone know that one? Oh my, can we blast it right now, please? Can you play that on the piano, the entire record? I had never read the liner notes, but I did that night. In it, a David Byrne reflecting on America's first steps into the 21st century writes this message to the listener. I go about my business, mostly here in New York, traveling from midtown to downtown, back up again, often to Brooklyn, less often to Hoboken or Queens. There is a family that lives across the street, and a sweatshop too. There's a police station next door, and further down the block, a halfway house, a Chinese-Mexican takeout, and an off-Broadway theater center. Sometimes it seems as if things like writing a group of songs or getting groceries are dealt with more or less on a day-to-day basis as they come up, each reacted to only at the time as they demand to be, and that there is no plan or direction or overall consideration of where things are leading. But of course, that's not true. There are little decisions made every minute, and the cumulative effect is to define what later appears to be a conscious plan with an emotional center and compass. During all this time, there was love, anger, sadness, and frustration. There were 2 wars, one out of revenge and the second to consolidate oil interests. Along with many others, I did my best to stop the second one, but it seemed inevitable, and the misdirected legacy of a nation still reeling. During all this time, I dreamt. Here at Throop, every Sunday, we dream about what we might create anew when we make a promise to our planet. It is placed at the end of service today to remind us what gives us purpose and direction. It can be found in your order of service, and it goes like this. As members of the family of living beings on earth, we are guided by the Unitarian Universalist principle of respect for the interdependent web of all existence of which we are a part, with hearts filled with love for it, eyes nurtured by its beauty, and minds ruminating on ways to protect its sacred and scarce resources, we promise to nurture the well-being of all life and of the planet itself. In 1 year, we will still be dealing with the fallout from these fires. In 1 year, we will again be honoring the life and words and spirit of the great Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King, Jr., and in just 1 year, we might find ourselves writing letters again. I've still got a bunch of stamps, in the hopes of electing another round of political leaders that will better represent our shared values. We must keep our faith in the impossible. Please rise in body or in spirit as we sing our closing hymn, We Shall Overcome, in your gray hymnals, number 169.
We shall
Place a hand on your heart. Reach out a hand to someone else in the room. Hold it if you're comfortable. The flames from our chalice and our candles are extinguished. I double-checked. Their light lives on in each of us, the flames binding our community as they empower us to reach toward justice. Go live into yourself, and by doing so, inspire others to do the same. Blessed be.